The first thing I remembered was the lie, a tremor in my father's voice over the phone, thick with a manufactured despair that, at the time, I had mistaken for love. "I have cancer, Marin." That was 10 years ago. I was 25, naive enough to believe that blood was thicker than betrayal. I signed the guarantor forms for the $1 million loan for his treatment. He'd said, to live long enough to walk me down the aisle. He'd wept, to fulfill my mother's dying wish. The bank approved the loan, and then he was gone. A suicide note was all he left behind. A fabricated story of a devastating online scam, of losing everything. He even scammed me out of the house my mother had left solely to me. The debt fell on my shoulders like a collapsed building. The loan sharks came first, their knuckles rapping against a door that was no longer mine. They threw my things onto the lawn of the Port Sterling house I grew up in. I worked 3 jobs. My hands, once soft, became calloused and raw. My back, once straight, began to stoop under the weight of exhaustion. The lines on my face deepened, carving a map of sleepless nights and relentless anxiety. At 35, I looked 55, a ghost haunting the periphery of a life I was supposed to live. It was Thanksgiving Eve when I saw him. 10 years to the day, I was delivering a catering order, the scent of roasted turkey and cinnamon clinging to my worn-out coat. Through the window of a cheerful, brightly lit suburban home, I saw a scene of domestic bliss. A man, his hair silvered and distinguished, was carving the turkey. He was laughing, his face ruddy with health and happiness. It was my father. A woman with a predatory prettiness stood beside him, her hand resting possessively on his arm, and a young man, barely out of his teens, beamed at them both. His son, her son, the happy family paid for with my life. The lie wasn't the cancer, the lie was me. I was the scam. Rage, cold and pure, flooded the hollow spaces inside me. I fumbled for my phone, my fingers trembling. 9/11. They saw me then. Their laughter froze. Panic contorted their perfect family portrait. They rushed out, not with explanations, but with violence. He shoved me, the father who had used my mother's memory to destroy me. She pushed me, the mistress who had slept in my mother's house. The son, the replacement, gave the final, brutal heave. I stumbled backward, off the curb, into the path of an oncoming truck. The world became a kaleidoscope of blinding headlights and a grotesque screech of tires. I didn't feel the impact, only the crushing, a methodical, grinding finality as bone splintered and snapped. The last thing I heard, over the sound of my own body breaking, was their unified sigh of relief. The last thing I saw was the gentle fall of snow, beginning to cover their tracks, and then nothing, until the phone rang, and I was alive. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, impossible drumbeat. I was sitting at my desk, the bland beige of my office cubicle surrounding me like a flimsy shield. The afternoon sun of a mild November day streamed through the window, glinting off the framed photo of my mother. She was smiling. My phone buzzed again, insistent. The caller ID displayed a single word: Dad. My breath hitched. The phantom agony of crushed ribs and shattered limbs pulsed through me, a visceral echo in a body that was inexplicably whole. 25. I was 25 again. My hands were smooth. My back was straight. The crushing weight of $1 million debt was a future nightmare, not a present reality. A second chance, not from heaven, but from sheer, impossible luck, and I wouldn't waste a single second of it. I answered the phone, my voice a carefully controlled, neutral tone. Marin. The voice was the same, that practiced tremor, that undercurrent of staged desperation. You need to come to the clinic, now. The lie. It was beginning. I have cancer, Marin. A cold, beautiful calm settled over me. Stay there, I said, my voice devoid of the panic he expected. I'm on my way, but I wasn't going to the clinic, not yet. I grabbed my bag, gave my boss a clipped excuse about a family emergency, and walked out into the crisp Oregon air. My first stop was home, the house my mother had fought to keep, the one she had explicitly willed to me. Its warm, familiar rooms were still mine. His things were still in the master bedroom, a temporary stain I intended to scrub out. I didn't waste time on sentiment. I went straight to the old roll-top desk in the study. Inside, beneath a stack of my mother's gardening journals, were the 2 documents that mattered: the property deed with my name on it and her last will and testament, notarized and ironclad. He had told me it was lost in a fire.